Welcome ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Lich here, and this time we are on round 5 of the BBB Season 1 tournament, this time between two of our favorite players. On the left side for the High Elves, we have a renowned Dwarf hater, Phoenix King, leading the High Elves, and on the right side, totally not a Skaven, Human Boy yes, leading the Tzeentch army. Now this battle is not a full-on battle replay commentary, but instead this battle is quite quick, so we'll be focusing on specific issues we're seeing here. Now before the armies are even clashing, I think that a big problem is already here, and that is the matchup itself. Personally, I think this is a horrible matchup for Tzeentch because of all those high elf units having some kind of resistance or are just great trade against Tzeentch roster overall. For example, Silver Guard here, heavily armored, silver shields, and also spell resistance of 30%. First off, they are basically impervious to all kinds of horror firepower due to their shields and heavy armor. And secondly, even if you're spamming spells onto them, it will not be a great use of your magic, as they can mitigate spell damage through their armor and their spell resistance. Also, the High Elves can spam some very cost-effective archers to outmatch Tzeentch in terms of firepower. Perhaps the Chaos Warriors can tank their missiles for a bit longer, but unfortunately they are not good at breaking through spear lines, especially with the High Elves' staunchiness. But still, this isn't the biggest issue for Tzeentch against High Elves. The main problem for Tzeentch is actually the High Elves' tons of fire resistance. Take the High Elves' elite cavalry, the Dragon Princes, as an example. Now, their physical resistance are useless against a Tzeentch army, which is basically a full army of magic damage, but fire resistance of 40%. This means that the Tzeentch army's greatest strength, their ranged firepower, will be significantly reduced. Almost all of their missiles has the fire damage attribute, even their notorious blue fire of Tzeentch, and the only exception being the soul grinders. As a result, this Tzeentch army on the field would struggle to do any damage to the Dragon Princes. But that's not the end, because there are monsters with flame resistance, namely the Flame Spy Phoenix and the Arcane Phoenix. While regular dragons do not have fire resistance, this does not apply to Imrik and his dragon Minafnir. Imrik himself comes with 40% of fire resistance, and if you mount it on his dragon, that basically slaps that fire resistance onto the dragon as well, combined with the 25 missile resistance from the scaly skin of a dragon. That is a sum of 65% damage reduction from fire missiles. For example, over here, the pink horrors have been shooting at Imrik all day. With the dragon's large hitbox, most of those missiles land home, but the thing is, they're just not doing the damage. The horrors are giving all they've got to shoot down Imrik, but unfortunately Imrik's health bar is barely seeing a dent. On top of that, due to the lack of armor piercing on the missiles from the horrors, the heavy armor of Imrik comes in really handy, as the base weapon damage is further reduced by a rough amount of 65% to 70%. Combined with all the resistance, the damage from the Tzeentch missiles are basically minimized, and safe to say, Imrik is just enjoying a warm shower of pink flames. If anything, this army bombardment ability has more burst damage than everything else combined, actually making a noticeable dent on Imrik's health pool in a single hit. Now after minutes of dedicated crossfire, Imrik's health is finally reaching almost 50%. But then, a simple regrowth is topping everything up on him, even if he is on fire and the healing is reduced. This basically undo everything that the Tzeentch army had done trying to snipe out Imrik. And now with the Dragon Princes charging straight into the lightning armored pink horrors, the high charge bonus heavy armor means that they trade really cost effectively against the pink horrors, especially when their melee attack also deals fire damage. With all due respect to Human Boy yes, who is a much better player than me, I do think that his choice in Tzeentch is a mistake against High Elves. As you can see here, the victory was quite overwhelming for the High Elves, with their Dragon Princes and Imrik being largely intact, partially because all that pink horror fire that shot into Imrik was basically wasted due to his massive resistance, and also all the healing coming his way from the Mage of Life. The horror missiles were definitely better at shooting up the archers, but unfortunately due to their short range, it was quite awkward for them to reach the High Elf back line. And the entire army here doesn't have that kind of armor piercing power to snipe out Imrik. The only thing that could probably do some damage to him is a soul grinder, but unfortunately it is not on the field today. So in conclusion, if your opponent is playing High Elves or has a possibility to play High Elves, you might not want to play Tzeentch. as the fire missiles on the Tzeentch roster can be largely shrugged off by the High Elves' resistance against fire. Things were pretty straightforward in the second battle, with Phoenix King going for Beastmen and Human Boy Yes Yes going for his favorite Skavens. Skavens might be strong in the current meta, but they are still quite vulnerable to a proper rush tactic. Their fragile frontline trade horribly against the light infantry from the Beastmen army. Their dedicated backline defenders, all the Rat Ogres and Wolf Rats, do not have the armor to tank out the damage from a spam of Beastmen Centaurs and Warhounds. With the Skaven box entirely disrupted by the Beastmen mobility, Human Boy tried to turn the tables by spamming Flancing Ruin and sniping out Morgur the Shadowgave with his characters, but unfortunately Morgur, with his resistance to magic as well as his regeneration, simply refuses to go down. In the third battle, Human Boy Yes Yes is the one using Beastmen, while Phoenix King will be going for a cavalry-heavy army with Kislev. The game started with a mistake from the Kislev side, allowing the Beastmen to catch a couple Dervish units. And then Phoenix King, seeing the Butchers of Kalkengard in the front line, charge in 2 units of cavalry and a couple characters, hoping to snipe out this expensive regiment of renowned Minotaurs. But then they're indeed regiments of renown with excellent melee stats and leadership, plus their regeneration trait allowing them to hold for forever, tying down all these mobility resources of the Kislev side and giving the Beastmen a chance to rear charge them with a horde of Centaurs and just shoot them in the back with a bunch of throwing axes as well. And by occupying or eliminating the Kislev mobility, Human Boy Yes Yes was able to control the battlefield with his own mobilities, the Centaurs and also Razorgors, bringing him his first victory in the series. This basically sums up the first 3 battles in the best of 5 between Phoenix King and Human Boy Yes Yes. If you want to see the rest of the battles, be sure to subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for new videos. That's it for today, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Tzeentch, signing out.